Welcome to Daily News in AI Agents, the place to get a quick roundup of the most exciting developments in AI agents every day. Subscribe to our LinkedIn newsletter today in the link below to stay activated.
All right, so let's take a look at all these articles about AI in 2024.
Yeah.
We've got news research, even some opinion pieces. It seems like AI went from future tech to impacting our everyday lives, sometimes even without us realizing it.
It's been a big year. What's fascinating to me is seeing how AI is sort of woven into everything,
Yeah.
from business to art and even global politics.
Definitely. And one thing that's really caught my eye is this whole explosion of AI agents.
Right.
VentureBeat and the LangChain blog are both talking about this huge increase in companies using AI agents to automate tasks and make decisions.
Yeah, VentureBeat did a survey and found that something like 82% of tech execs are actually planning to implement AI agents within the next 3 years.
Wow.
That's a massive shift. AI agents are no longer just a cool gadget, but they're becoming like a core part of how businesses are thinking about the future.
Yeah, it does feel like everyone is trying to jump on board, but then we have Anthropic suggesting that we should stick with simpler agent designs, focusing on what they call U-agents and workflows instead of going for these super complex frameworks.
Right.
Why are they pushing for this lean approach when it seems like everyone else is racing towards complexity?
Well, it's a very interesting counterpoint. Anthropic argues that simpler agents are easier to understand and control and integrate, especially for critical tasks.
Okay.
They're saying build agents that are good at specific jobs
Yeah.
and can be combined into workflows rather than try to create this all-powerful do-everything agent right off the bat.
Makes sense. Yeah, start with the building blocks before you try and build a skyscraper.
Exactly. And even these simpler agents are doing some pretty amazing things like outreach.
Yeah.
Launched AI agents that can actually automate sales tasks. So that's a concrete example of this tech already changing how we work.
Wow. Yeah, so AI agents are making waves in the business world. But let's switch gears a little bit and talk about LLMs, those large language models that were everywhere in the news this year, although sometimes not for the most serious reasons. TechCrunch mentioned this bizarre trend of people using Will Smith eating spaghetti to test AI video generators.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's kind of funny, but it also highlights how people are getting creative in pushing these models to their limits.
Right.
But it also points to the need for ways to measure how well these models are actually working, how accurate they are.
Speaking of accuracy, IE Spectrum highlighted some ethical concerns around LLMs.
Yeah.
Especially with things like Midjourney and the potential for plagiarism.
Right. It's like a double-edged sword. On one hand, you have these models that are incredibly creative, like ChatGPT is being praised for its coding skills.
Yeah.
But then you have Midjourney potentially stepping on artists' copyrights.
Right.
It really highlights the need for responsible development and considering these intellectual property issues.
It definitely seems like LLMs are moving beyond the hype and into real-world applications, for better or worse.
Yeah.
Speaking of real-world applications, one story that really resonated with me was that piece in IE Spectrum about those ship workers using AI to push back against those unfair algorithm changes.
That is a powerful example of how AI can be used to kind of level the playing field.
Yeah.
These workers were able to use AI to analyze their pay data and expose these discriminatory practices by the algorithm, which eventually led to them getting fair compensation.
That's amazing how AI can give a voice to people who might otherwise be overlooked.
Yeah.
But Tech Explorer notes that despite all this excitement around AI, a lot of businesses were still hesitant to implement it in 2024, mostly because of budget concerns.
Right. It's that reality check, isn't it? The potential of AI is huge.
Yeah.
But there are some real costs and complexities involved in actually implementing it.
Definitely.
Many businesses are still trying to figure out how to integrate AI into their existing systems without breaking the bank.
It's that tension between the hype and the reality. We see these amazing advancements.
Right.
But it's clear that there are still some hurdles to overcome, and of course we can't forget about the ethical considerations. One area where this is particularly important is healthcare.
Yeah.
We saw the emergence of CareCode in Brazil, a startup that's using AI to streamline healthcare tasks.
Yeah, that's a great example of how AI can be applied to these real-world problems. But it also raises these important questions like, how do we make sure that patient data is protected?
Right.
How do we prevent algorithmic bias from creeping in, especially in healthcare where the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
Responsible and ethical AI is paramount.
And then there's this whole concern about AI potentially replacing jobs.
Yeah, it's a valid concern and one that we need to address head on, but we also need to focus on the positive applications of AI.
Yeah.
And how it can create these new opportunities, like the shift worker example, shows how AI can be used to empower workers, not just replace them.
It's about finding that synergy, right? AI can handle those repetitive tasks, freeing up humans to focus on more creative and strategic work.
Exactly. It's not about humans versus AI. It's about humans and AI working together to create a better future.
Okay, so we've talked about AI's impact on individuals and businesses, but what about those big players shaping the landscape? TechCrunch reported that Google seemed to be pushing back against that whole AI doomsday narrative,
Yeah.
promoting this more practical, less alarming view of generative AI. Do you think this is a genuine shift in their thinking or just a PR move?
I think it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Google is heavily invested in generative AI, so naturally they want to reassure the public about its potential benefits.
Okay.
But it's also possible that they're trying to kind of steer the conversation away from these existential risks and toward more manageable challenges.
Maybe they're trying to preempt any potential regulation.
Possibly, but they're also making some significant moves in the market.
So we've got AI agents transforming businesses, LLMs raising these ethical questions, and tech giants battling it out for market share. It feels like AI is touching every corner of our lives.
Yeah.
But what about regulation? Bloomberg brought up this crucial question. What will AI regulation look like under this new presidential administration?
That's the big unknown. AI regulation is still in its early stages, and the new administration's approach will have a huge impact on how this technology develops.
It's a tricky balance, right?
Yeah,
We want to encourage innovation, but not at the expense of safety and ethics.
absolutely, and that's where things get complicated. For instance, TechCrunch reported that OpenAI actually missed its target of launching an opt-out tool for creators by 2025.
So if I create something, I don't necessarily have control over whether or not it's used to train AI models.
That's the concern.
Wow.
The lack of these clear guidelines and these opt-out mechanisms create a lot of uncertainty for creators.
Yeah.
It also highlights the need for transparency and accountability from AI companies about how they're collecting and using data.
It feels like we're in uncharted territory trying to figure out the rules of the road as we go. One thing is for sure, though, AI is no longer this futuristic concept.
Right.
It's here, it's impacting our lives in big ways, and it's raising some complex questions that we need to address.
I completely agree. The conversation is just getting started, and it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of. The future of AI depends on the choices that we make today.
So what can individuals do to make sure that AI is developed responsibly and ethically? Reading articles like the ones we have here is a good start, right?
Definitely staying informed is key.
Yeah.
Supporting organizations that are advocating for responsible AI
Okay.
and letting your elected officials know how you feel about AI policy are also effective ways to make your voice heard.
It's about being an informed and engaged citizen.
Exactly. We can't just sit back and watch AI happen.
Right.
We need to actively shape its future.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening. We've covered a lot of ground, from AI agents to LLMs, real-world applications, ethical challenges, the role of these tech giants, and the need for regulation. What's the one thing you really want our listener to walk away with?
The biggest takeaway, I think, is that AI isn't this one giant thing.
Yeah.
It's a collection of different technologies with this wide range of applications and implications.
Mhm.
It's up to us to kind of understand these nuances and make informed decisions about how we want AI to shape our world.
So it's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding it and using it for good.
Exactly. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
It's our responsibility to make sure that it's used ethically and for the betterment of humanity.
What a great message to end on. And speaking of great messages, I have one final thought for you to chew on.
It's okay.
If AI can help shipped workers fight for fair wages, what other ways can it be used to make a positive difference in society? That's something to ponder.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. Makes you wonder what other problems we could solve, right?
Yeah, and we've only just scratched the surface of what's happening in the AI world.
Right.
It seems like every day there's like a new breakthrough or some controversy popping up.
Well.
It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, it is.
But that's what makes it so fascinating, right?
Absolutely.
AI is constantly evolving, and it's like it forces us to rethink what's even possible.
Speaking of pushing those boundaries,
Yeah.
Remember that timeline VentureBeat put together?
Yeah.
It's incredible to see how many new AI models were actually released just this year, each one pushing the limits of what AI can even do.
Yeah, no, it's like drinking from a fire hose.
Right.
But Simon Willison's year-end review brought up some interesting trends. He talked about how multimodal vision is becoming more and more common in LLMs.
Yeah,
So these models can now understand and generate both text and images.
exactly. It's a huge leap forward. Imagine asking an AI to create a website from your handwritten sketch
Wow.
or to write a poem based on a photograph.
Yeah.
It opens up this whole new world of creativity and innovation.
It sounds like science fiction, but it's happening now.
Right.
AI is blurring the lines between what we thought was possible.
And it's not just about these creative applications. Think about the potential for scientific discovery.
Yeah.
AI models that can analyze complex visual data could revolutionize fields like medicine, astronomy, environmental science.
It's like giving scientists a superpower.
Exactly.
Letting them analyze data in ways they never could before.
Right. And this is just the beginning. We're just starting to tap into AI's potential to actually help solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
That's exciting. But Wilson also pointed out kind of a concerning trend as well. He talked about the environmental impact of all this LLM development. He mentioned that LLM prices crashed in 2024.
Right.
Which made them more accessible, but it also led to this surge in usage and energy consumption.
Yeah, that's a really critical point. As AI gets more powerful and as more people are using it, we have to consider its carbon footprint.
Right.
Training these massive models takes a lot of computational power, which translates into a lot of energy use.
So it's a trade-off. We get these amazing tools, but at a cost to the environment.
It is a trade-off, and it's one that we need to consider very carefully.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to make AI more sustainable is crucial if we want it to be viable in the long term.
It's not just about the technology itself. It's about the infrastructure and the energy sources that are powering it.
Right, and that's why initiatives like NVIDIA open sourcing their AI infrastructure software are so important.
Right.
By making these tools more accessible and efficient, it could help reduce the environmental impact of AI development.
So it's about finding that balance between innovation and sustainability.
Exactly. We need to be aware of the costs and the benefits of AI.
Yeah.
And make choices that are both technologically advanced and environmentally responsible.
We've talked about AI's amazing potential, but also some of the challenges and concerns. Do you think there's a risk that AI could become too powerful, too uncontrollable?
It's a valid concern and one that science fiction has been exploring for decades.
Yeah.
But I think the key is to remember that AI is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. The real risk isn't the technology itself, it's how we choose to use it.
So it comes back to human choices and actions.
Exactly. We need to be thoughtful and intentional about how we develop and use AI.
Right.
We have to make sure that it aligns with our values and goals as a society.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's also an incredible opportunity. We have this chance to shape the future of AI and use it to build a world that's more equitable and more sustainable.
That's an inspiring thought. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype or even the fear surrounding AI.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to us to decide how it fits into our lives.
I couldn't agree more. The future of AI isn't set in stone.
Right.
It's something that we're creating with every decision we make.
Okay, so we need to be informed, engaged, and responsible. But what about the people who are actually building these AI models? Are they thinking about these ethical considerations?
It's a mixed bag, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are definitely AI developers who are very concerned about ethics.
Okay.
And are working hard to build AI that's responsible and beneficial.
Like Anthropic, with their focus on building safe and aligned AI.
Exactly. They're a great example of a company that's putting ethics front and center.
Yeah.
But then there are also developers who are more focused on pushing the boundaries of what's technologically possible.
Right.
Without always thinking about the potential consequences.
That's a bit concerning.
It is, and that's why it's so important to have a variety of voices and perspectives in the AI development community. We need ethicists, social scientists, policymakers working alongside the engineers to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
So it can't just be a tech-driven field.
Right.
We need to be thinking about the human and societal impacts as well.
Absolutely. AI is too powerful and too widespread to leave it solely in the hands of technologists.
Right.
We need a collaborative approach, bringing in experts from different fields.
So what can we do to encourage more ethical AI development?
Well, there are a few things. First, we can support organizations and initiatives that are promoting responsible AI practices.
Okay.
There are groups out there working on developing ethical guidelines, conducting bias audits, advocating for transparency and accountability in AI development.
So it's about putting our money where our mouth is supporting the people who are trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We also need to educate ourselves and others about the ethical implications of AI.
Yeah.
The more people understand these risks and challenges, the more we can demand responsible development and use.
It's about raising awareness and encouraging that critical thinking.
Right. And finally, we need to actually participate in conversations about AI ethics and policy.
Okay.
This isn't just a tech issue, it's a societal issue.
Right.
We need to be having these open and honest discussions about our values and goals for AI.
It's about working together to shape the future of AI as a society.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool that has this potential to transform our world in these profound ways.
Yeah.
It's up to us to make sure it's used for good and benefits all of humanity.
It's a big task, but one that we can't ignore.
Absolutely. The stakes are too high.
Yeah.
The future of AI is in our hands.
Speaking of hands, did you see that article about Jeff Koons and AI art?
I did.
The world's most expensive artist, saying he refuses to use AI in his work.
It's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And it kind of reflects this bigger debate that's happening in the art world right now. Some artists are embracing AI as this new tool for creativity,
Right.
while others see it as a threat to human expression.
It's like that old debate about photography. Is it art or just a mechanical reproduction?
Exactly. These debates about technology and art have been going on for centuries. AI is just the latest chapter, but it's fascinating to see how these questions are popping up in these new ways.
Koons' argument was that he doesn't want to be lazy. He wants to maintain that human touch in his art.
Right. And that raises a really fundamental question about the role of technology in creativity.
Yeah.
Is it about replacing human creativity or enhancing it?
It's like that conversation we were having earlier about AI and jobs. Is it about replacing humans or collaborating with them?
Exactly the same questions apply to art music,
Yeah.
writing, any creative field. AI can be this incredible tool for inspiration, experimentation, even collaboration, but it's up to us to decide how we use it.
So it's not about being afraid of AI or rejecting it outright. It's about finding that right balance between human creativity and this technological innovation.
Precisely. And that's a balance that we'll constantly need to reevaluate as AI continues to evolve.
It's like a dance, right? We're constantly adapting and responding to each other.
Exactly. It's this dynamic and evolving relationship that will continue to shape the future of both art and technology.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. AI agents, LLMs, real-world applications, ethical challenges, tech giants, regulation, even the art world. It's clear that AI is impacting every aspect of our lives.
And its influence is only going to grow stronger in the years to come.
So what's the one thing you really hope our listener takes away from all of this?
I think the most important takeaway is that AI isn't this one monolithic entity.
Yeah.
It's a collection of technologies with this wide variety of applications and implications.
Right.
It's up to us to understand those nuances and make informed decisions about how we want AI to shape our future.
So it's not about fearing AI. It's about understanding it and harnessing its potential for good.
Exactly. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad purposes. It's our responsibility to make sure that it's used ethically and for the betterment of humanity.
That's a powerful message. One story that really stuck with me was about how AI is being used to address these social challenges. Remember that article about Kobold Metals?
Yeah, the company that's using AI to find those untapped mineral deposits.
Yes, they just raised this massive $537 million Series C funding round, valuing the company at almost $3 billion.
I know, it's huge.
What's fascinating is that they're using AI to actually find the minerals we need for the clean energy transition.
Exactly.
So AI is being used to help combat climate change.
Yes, they're using AI to analyze historical and scientific data to identify these potential mining sites.
Wow.
It's a fantastic example of how AI can be used to tackle some of our most pressing global challenges.
It's almost like using technology to solve the problems created by technology.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
But it also shows that AI can be this powerful force for positive change.
Yeah.
It's not just about automation and efficiency. It's about using AI to create a better future.
I love that idea. It's so easy to get bogged down in all the negative aspects of AI,
Right.
but there's so many inspiring examples of how it's being used for good.
And those are the stories we need to be telling. We need to highlight those positive applications of AI and inspire others to use it for good.
Okay, so we've covered AI agents, LLMs, real-world applications, ethical challenges, tech giants, regulation, the art world, and even climate change. It's clear that AI is this complex and multifaceted topic.
And it's a topic that we'll need to continue exploring and discussing as AI continues to evolve.
But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, that growing competition in the AI market. We saw Google and Anthropic going head-to-head, and now companies like Alibaba are slashing prices to try and gain market share.
Yes, the AI market is becoming incredibly competitive.
Yeah.
Which is both exciting and a bit concerning.
Exciting because it's driving innovation, but concerning because it could lead to kind of a race to the bottom right.
Exactly. We have to make sure that this competition doesn't come at the expense of ethics and responsible development.
It's like that old saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Precisely. We need to consider the potential consequences of AI and make choices that are good for both society and the environment.
So again, it's about finding that balance between innovation ethics and sustainability.
Absolutely. And it's a balance that we'll constantly need to reevaluate as AI continues to evolve and impact our world.
This deep dive has really been eye-opening. We've seen incredible advancements, inspiring applications, and thought-provoking challenges.
Yeah.
It's clear that AI is this powerful force that's shaping our world in these profound ways.
And as we move into 2025, the conversation around AI is only going to get more important and more urgent.
But before we move on, I want to loop back to something we talked about earlier, the potential for AI to be used for social good.
Yes, that's something that deserves more attention.
Yeah.
We've seen these inspiring examples, like the shipped workers and cobalt metals.
Right.
But there's so many other areas where AI could be used to address societal challenges.
Like healthcare, education, poverty, even world peace.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
It's up to us to imagine and create the future that we want to see.
So our final thought for the listener is this.
Okay.
If AI can help shipped workers fight for fair wages and find minerals to combat climate change, what other social good applications are out there just waiting to be discovered?
That's a powerful question to consider. It's a reminder that AI is a tool with this incredible potential for both good and bad.
Yeah.
It's up to us to decide how we want to use it.
And that's a perfect note to end on. We encourage you to continue exploring the world of AI.
Yes.
And join us next time for another deep dive into the latest developments.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a future where AI benefits all of humanity.
It is inspiring to think about all those possibilities for positive change. But we also have to be realistic about the challenges, right?
Right.
One area where we really need to be proactive is AI regulation.
Mm-hmm.
We touched on this before.
Yeah.
But it's worth digging a little deeper.
Absolutely. As AI becomes more powerful and more integrated into our lives, the need for those clear guidelines and regulations is becoming more and more urgent.
Definitely.
We can't just rely on tech companies to regulate themselves. We need governments to step up and establish those frameworks that protect individuals, society, and the environment.
But some people argue that any regulation is just going to stifle innovation. How do you respond to that?
It is a concern for sure, but I don't think it's an either proposition.
Okay.
We could have both innovation and regulation.
Yeah.
The key is to create regulations that are flexible and adaptable.
Right.
And focus on mitigating risks without putting a stranglehold on progress.
So it's about setting some boundaries, but not building walls.
Exactly. We need regulations that promote transparency and accountability. Regulations that address specific concerns like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential impact on jobs and the environment.
It's a complex challenge, but one we can't ignore.
Absolutely. The stakes are too high.
Yeah.
The future of AI depends on our ability to govern it wisely.
And speaking of governing wisely, we also need to think about the global implications of AI.
Yeah.
This isn't just a national issue, it's an international one.
You're absolutely right. AI is already a key factor in global power dynamics.
Yeah.
Countries are pouring resources into AI research and development, seeing it as a strategic asset.
Wow.
As AI becomes more sophisticated, it could have huge implications for national security, economic competition, even military capabilities.
It almost sounds like AI could be the next arms race.
There's definitely a risk of that.
Yeah.
But there's also an opportunity for international collaboration.
Okay.
We need countries to work together to establish those global norms and standards for AI development. And we need to make sure that AI is used for peaceful purposes. and that it benefits all of humanity.
So it almost sounds like we need like a global AI treaty.
It might come to that.
Yeah.
We need some kind of framework for international cooperation
Right.
that promotes responsible AI development and prevents this dangerous AI arms race.
That's a tall order, but it's essential that we strive for it.
I agree. The future of AI isn't just a technological issue.
Yeah.
It's a global issue that requires global solutions.
This deep dive has given us so much to think about. From AI agents to LLM's real-world applications, these ethical dilemmas, the influence of tech giants, the need for regulation, the art world, climate change, and now global politics.
Right.
AI is woven into every aspect of our lives.
And its influence is only going to grow in the years to come.
So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from this conversation?
I hope they come away with a sense of both the incredible potential of AI and the significant challenges it presents. I hope they feel empowered to actually engage in the conversation, to ask questions, to demand responsible development, and to help shape a future where AI truly benefits all of humanity.
That's a really powerful message. It's not about being afraid of AI or blindly embracing it.
Right.
It's about understanding its complexities,
Yes.
engaging with its challenges, and working together to build a future where AI serves humanity, not the other way around.
Couldn't agree more. The future of AI isn't predetermined.
Right.
It's something that we're actively shaping with our choices and our actions.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we create a future we can all be proud of.
That is a perfect note to end on. We encourage you to keep exploring the world of AI and to join us next time for another fascinating deep dive into the latest developments.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a future where AI empowers us all.